going to let the absolute chaos begin. For the past 6 trips, I've been using my GPX 6000, which is a PI machine, but today we're switching to the Gold Monster, which is a wicked capable VLF machine. The older technology has some advantages. VLF machines are super sensitive to very fine gold, and they're also super sensitive to mineralization. Mineralization indicates that the quartz vein that we're going to be potentially finding might have gold in it. So that's why I've got this machine instead of a PI. There's a steep little gully I've got to walk down to get to the mine, and I've come across this. And if you guys know what this is, you're a hunter, because pigs be in the area. So best case scenario today, I go home with gold and bacon. I'ma fight a pig with a shovel. Literally right there, I found the biggest specimen of my entire prospecting career. There's got to be half an ounce in there, because for a single rock to give me that amount of gold is just insanity. That's the biggest gold nugget I've ever found. And it was sitting right on top of this ginormous waste rock pile. And because it was sitting on top of the waste rock, it means it came from the bottom of the actual mine itself. Now, I found 5 nice specimens in a perfect line through this waste rock, meaning that when they blasted this area, someone had to muck out all the worthless rock. So there would have been an old dude, well, he was probably my age, right, or even younger, but he would have been standing about right there with a bucket or a shovel, throwing the waste rock up and out, because this is only a small mine, and he would have collected some of their high-grade ore and thrown it out in this pile. Now, the old guys only ever worked what was payable for them. So the price of gold fluctuated pretty wildly, the cost of living fluctuated, the cost of crushing. So if those things didn't tie together, then they wouldn't bother working the leftover quartz that was in their mine that wasn't high enough grade. So they only took the best part, which is why they leave veins like this in their working face. I've already sampled some of these and they have gold in them. The real question is though, what's under all of this debris? Is there a small pocket of that ore left on one of the side walls, maybe in the working faces? I have a whole heap of loaming bags with me. We're going to take a bunch of samples and find out. Step 1 is becoming a kind of lame arborist and getting rid of all this. Why didn't they bring a rake? Since we've detected the mullock pile, this is all just going to go on the mullock pile. I say we, it's me and my 50 personalities. Me and my 50 personalities aside, this mine dates back to 1866, so there was a lot of debris laying in that hole. And look at this, which is the bedrock, and then directly above it, sandwiched between another sheet of bedrock, is this like clay layer? Like a pipe clay layer. What's up with that? There's quartz in it. Well, I've got down to mostly the fresh dirt layer. This pile of mulch is all leaves and sticks. And all of this is like composted dirt. All those leaves and sticks starting to break down, and stuff that's fallen into the mine from up there when it's rained. No one panic, I have detected this to absolute death. And I cannot find any more gold in that pile. So we're going to throw all the soft dirt out of this mine onto it. Introducing Spore, this shovel. I need to establish how deep this mine is. I know that this is a working face. So this is one of the edges of the reef that they were working out. So I'm going to follow that down until I hit hard ground. Oh, we got some digging to do. My goal was to find the floor of the mine. The floor of the mine would tell me if there was any leftover quartz sitting on the bottom, but also how deep it was, because sometimes these mines can lead to shafts that have since been covered up. And ultimately, the more exposed quartz I have, the more opportunity I have to sample. Moving a little bit of dirt, and I've been keeping my eye out on the rocks on the way down, and I think this is what we're looking for. Ore is traditionally very dirty. Sometimes it's associated with the quartz, sometimes it's associated with the host rock around it. And this is a great example of that, where we've got a nice ribbon of very dirty quartz running through the guts of a piece of host rock. So I shall be taking this one back to crush. Taking a little break from digging that out because it's very humid today, and switching over to using the Gold Monster. Now, I took an ore sample out of this last time and I got literally 2 little nanodots, so a very low grade vein out of the main cut of the mine. It's not really worth me working that vein, but I do have a nice signal on the Gold Monster. Bet it's that. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take any hot rocks we get home because sometimes the gold is not in the quartz. Sometimes it's in the host rock around it. And if that's giving us a solid signal, it may be in that. It is hot as shit today. It's just humid. At any rate, I'm not sure if I'm on the bottom of the mine just yet, but right here I have a bunch of quartz coming up out of what I suspect may be close to the bottom. And this is what we're looking for, right? We're looking for what they left in the ground of the mine or the walls of the mine. You can hear it too. Listen how crunchy that is. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Better run the gold monster over it just in case. Okay, that is a hot rock, so we're going to dig that up for sure. Make sure it's not this big one. No, one of these ones. It's that one right there. I'm starting to think this is the bottom of the mine, and that is the quartz vein. Right there. I feel like an archaeologist right now. This time on Time Team, we excavate a medieval castle looking for corpses from the plague. And it's coming out with some really nice mineralized quartz. Those pockets of black stuff in there, that's usually a good indicator for iron. And I don't know, I'm thinking I might actually just take a sample of this dirt in a bag home. Because if it is the vein, I can pan the dirt and then I can crush any of the rocks that come out of it and just see. But we'll take a sample of the dirt and we'll take a sample of the quartz vein itself. Oh, that's definitely the bottom of the mine. 100% that is the bottom of the mine, and there is definitely a quartz vein in it. Bug, bug, bugs, I need bugs. Bug, bug, bugs. You pay 15 cents a bag here in Australia. You might as well try and fill them with stuff that's full of gold, eh? Ah, yes, I could hear the international people going like, what, you pay 15 cents for a shopping bag? Yep, yeah, we do. Definitely taking that big rock. Random selection of dirt from the bottom. I got a bag of dirt, I got a bag of dirt, and a hill. Now that the first hole has been dug and we've got a sample, I know how deep the floor of the mine is, we're going to start removing dirt from the back face of the mine. From memory, these little veins down here gave me a little bit of gold when I crushed a small sample up. So what I want to do is remove the dirt from around them and see what happens to this face. See if there's more veins that I can't currently see and sample across it. Precisely 3 blisters, 1 sore back, and an eternity of digging later. Let's just say that me and my 50 personalities have been at hard work. This was the quartz vein that was exposed when we got here. And now we've removed all the dirt right down and we've followed the rock face on this side. So we knew when we would hit the bottom of the mine. And the bottom of the mine is just in this section here. And there are multiple quartz veins running across this side. Now, obviously, they left these in place. Probably for all the reasons I've already explained, which is that it wasn't payable for them. It has no relevance on us today. That's why we're sampling. Because back in the day, gold was worth $4.50 an ounce, and today it's worth $3,000. I have already taken a small sample out of this vein, and I got a little bit of gold. We're going to redo that with a bigger sample. And then I really want to take some out of just here. This feels like a good vein to take a sample out of. So far the cost of this expedition is 30 cents in bags. See how we go. Nah, not crumbly enough. I'm gonna have to get my chisel. We are unfortunately limited to hand tools here in Victoria, but we make do. Fernster, I have managed to get enough of a sample to do a crush. And it's pretty interesting looking stuff. There's obviously some iron associated with it, with that colour, but I'm not seeing quite what I want to see. I want to see more pockets in this where you're going to have things like arsenic and whatnot. that have oxidized out. That's why you sample, because one day you will find the right vein. I found a few in my life now, and it's quite exciting when you hit them. I took a nice little sample out of this quartz vein here, but it's still sitting quite high in the mine relatively. I want to get deeper. And the reason for that is the further down into the mine you go, the richer the ore tends to get. So down here, I've uncovered a few little veins. Our primary vein looks like it is just here. So we're going to take a sample of this stuff, which looks okay if I can wiggle a piece free. There seems to be a lot more iron, and if you look on this particular piece here, you can see a whole bunch of fool's gold. I've now got a floor of the mine sample, a sidewall sample, and right in the middle of the main guts of the mine sample. There's 3 spots, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to go for a 4th. Bernstein, are you filling the hole back in? I'm going to just change over to this side. This is the lesser side, where obviously they did a little bit of work, but not as extensive as the other mine. Now, that quartz vein I've already sampled, and I got a little tiny piece of gold out of it, not very much. But you can see that whilst they stopped there, they also deviated across, and they've taken some rock out from this area. I want to know what's in there. It looks like this is the stuff that they were chasing. That looks to be quartz in there. Once we clear this out, we'll know more. Man. Yeah, I love the sound of hard rock in the morning. Oh my god, that's a huge lizard. Look at that. Apologies, Mr. Lizard, for digging up your house. Would you like to get out of the mine now? No. Do you go? I've got to dig there. I got it. You got to go that way. Well, I'll see you soon. After concerted effort, it looks like I've hit a pipe layer vein, and it's got quartz carrying in it, which is interesting. So this is likely a fault that's running through this area, and we've got quartz up here and just all through it. And given it's pipe clay, it should be pretty easy to dig out. If I'm being completely honest, this doesn't look like the best quartz I've ever seen in my life, but you never know. So I'm just going to take like a random sample of this stuff, and with some luck there'll be some gold in it, but I don't have high hopes for this one. Packing the ore samples into my bag in the same order I took them out in, so I know which ones go where if we get good gold. Alright, oh my god. Yeah, it only weighs like 2 kilos. Well, my precious bag of dirt is all home. This bag of dirt was the first bag where I took it out of the bottom of the mine. So if there's gold in this soil, we'll know that it's likely that there's going to be gold in these bits of quartz. But because noise ordinance is going to start in a few minutes, I can't crush any of these. I just have to classify the loose soil that was sitting amongst it. I've taken great pride over the last 7 years of bringing honest, true content to this platform about gold prospecting. And for the most part, it means that you've seen a lot of days where I go out and find very little gold. And that's the reality of it. Prospecting is about searching for gold deposits, and that's what we're doing currently. But I also realized that I haven't really shown you guys days where you get skunked. I haven't shown you that many days where nothing happens, even though you put in all the work and use all the right equipment. And I think it's that honesty and integrity that is the palate cleanser for what social media is today, when you have hyper-realistic things such as the channels like Mr. Beast. So maybe there's gold in here. Maybe there's not. Let's find out. I haven't even crushed anything, and until tomorrow I'm not going to be able to. So if there is gold in the loose dirt that came off the floor of the mine, it bodes well for that ore sample. I think we got some pieces. We did! We got pieces of gold. I'm going to be the first to say this is not very much, but it shows you that there was 100% gold on the floor of that mine. And if we crush the quartz, we might get more. And that means tomorrow, when I start crushing, it might be a really good day. It's finally time to process those ore samples. To do that, I need to take the pieces of ore that I collected out at the mine yesterday and crush them up in my rock crusher here. This is a lawnmower engine that's used to power a drive shaft that's connected to a tube that when you pour ore down this chute, it flings the rocks into a steel ring of baffles. When the rocks hit those baffles, it explodes, and a lot of it's turned to dust. Now I can do multiple passes to get the ore extremely fine, but because I just want to know if there is gold in it and not how much, I'm just going to do one pass in this machine. And if any of these rocks end up holding significant gold, I can always reprocess them and go back and collect really good quality samples. Any big rocks like this are not going to fit into my crusher, so I have to hand crush them first. That spider just fell out of the crusher. That is a strong spider. But this dirt right here was from the floor of the mine. A single pass of my crusher is not enough to get the quartz down to the talcum powder consistency I need it to release every single bit of gold that might have been contained within the rock. This is simply a test to see if the rock is holding gold in the first place before I waste those resources. You never know with ore, you never know. Unless there's a heap of gold in it, which is unlikely from such a small sample size on a random vein, you won't see any gold or sulfides until you do the reveal at the end. And now to find out if there's any golds. Well, I'll be stuffed, really. That's right, the vein in the floor actually had gold in it. I was super surprised to see this amount from such a small crush. I'm going to show you a close-up of that gold in a second, but that is really impressive. We did a rough crush. I could have done 2 more passes on that ore and released more fine gold because it's very fine. And it was a small sample size of dirt, not just the quartz, the dirt around it, which means that in all likelihood, if I just concentrated on the quartz, I would have got even more gold. Okay, so we're going to put that one down there. That's our floor. These 2 bags here are our sidewall sample. Sampling for gold ore is much like sampling a creek bed for alluvial deposits. It takes a lot of time, effort, and samples to narrow down where the good deposits are. The difference I've found is that once you find a decent hard rock deposit, you can end up with a lot more gold than what you will out of a decent stream deposit. That is one massive jumping spider, and he will not go away. There's definitely a lot of coarse quartz in this, so it won't be an entirely accurate result, but if there's gold in it, we can make the adjustments. We got lucky on the first one. I'm not feeling overly confident about this one, I'm really not. You'd think they would have hit it if there was any significant grades in it. Oh, we got sulfides, that's good. That's a start. It's more sulfides than the last one. I think that is gold. That is gold. It's extraordinarily fine, so this is a vein that is not worth hunting, but it's in it. Typically speaking, gold that comes out of hard rock is super fine like this. You can see several pieces smattered amongst a more significant amount of sulfides. This is a good vein to investigate further because it may have richer pockets in it than what I got out of this small sample. This set of rocks is from the main vein, so right in the guts of the mine, the third sample I took. Definitely could crush this stuff a lot finer. Oh, some clean water because my wheelbarrow is getting muddy. This sample is from right in the middle of the mine, right in the main vein that they were hunting. And that's roughly in line with where I took the sample out of the floor. So I've got my fingers kind of crossed that continues on up the wall. Some sulfides, that's good. I had to do this twice because the gold and the sulfides are so fine. There is gold. It's right in the very corner of the pan there, but it is minuscule. Needless to say, that vein is a no. We got one last parcel, and this was from the minor cut next to the main mine I dug out. This is certainly the most quartzy sample I took back, but I have no hope at all for this, if I'm being honest. The vein was disintegrating in pipe clay. It's a really good indicator that a lot of water had been allowed to run in and through that vein, and water traditionally destroys gold-bearing quartz veins. It pushes the gold deeper. So, we'll find out. Right before we crush up this next sample, I just wanted to say I do YouTube as a full-time job, and if you would like to help support the channel, you can do that by jumping onto Patreon. We give away gold ore, gold specimens, gold pay dirt, as well as equipment and discounts on merch and other things every single month. It costs $1 to sign up. There's no long-term commitments, and every cent that goes through Patreon gets directly reinvested back into the channel, so I can bring videos just like this one. And there's also sweet merch in the bio below. Irrespective of what this pan has in it, the floor of the mine is definitely worth going back and taking a larger sample from. Okay, first thing I want to see is sulfides, because that indicates mineralization. And I got a little bit, but as I suspected, with minimal sulfides and what that quartz was sitting in, no gold. But that is completely okay with me, because it looks like the floor of the mine is holding enough gold to go back and investigate further.